and then YouTube. I don't know about the Instagram.
You should be live.
Hi, my name's Sam. I'm going live. We're attempting to go live on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram via Lula TV. So this will be a good commercial for them or a bad commercial for them. We have everything hooked up we're supposed to, but what are we on right now?
All three gaining on Insta.
Awesome. All right. So what I'm going to talk about on this live is how to make money in real estate if you're one of two people. So if you are one of these two people, then this live will probably benefit you. If you have not a lot of money and don't have the best credit, this will help you. Number two, if you have a good job and decent to good credit, this will benefit you. So this live, I'm going to talk about investing in real estate and creating wealth if you have no money and no credit, or you have good credit and a job. So that was obviously kind of a little bit of a play on word. This is probably 90% of you, if not more. So that was my way of saying this live pertains to everybody. I'm going to talk about how to create wealth without using any of your own money, whether you have money or credit or not. Are we on all three, you think, or just all three? All right. So what our audience looking like on them. So double tap the screens if you're not. This live is going to benefit you. Obviously, we're going live, so this is going to benefit you that's watching it live, as well as it's going to benefit you if you're watching this after the fact. D-Money's going to be on the keys, answering any crazy questions you have or directing you any way. So let's get rocking. So if you're one of two people, you either have money or you don't have money, you either have credit or you don't have credit, or a mixture. Let's start off with the top and let's work our way down. So if you have no money and no credit, what do you think you should do? Throw it in the chat box. I'm not going to belabor on that because this is going to be on probably YouTube and Instagram for a long time. TikTok doesn't let you save these on their channel. So, but anyways, if you don't have money or a ton of credit, what should you be doing? Thoughts? Anybody throw them in there? The first thing you should be doing is you should be learning how to wholesale. Wholesale real estate. Who on here knows what wholesaling is? Thumbs up if you do, thumbs down if you don't. I'm going to explain what wholesaling is in detail and a diagram, but in general, wholesaling is investing in real estate without using any of your own money or credit by selling paper. So I'm going to walk through the process, but wholesaling is getting a house under contract to purchase. You're going to say to a homeowner of a distressed house, I am buying your house for X amount. And traditionally, you would buy it for X amount, and then you would make money on it, fix it up, and then sell it or rent it. But that's not wholesaling. Wholesaling is not traditional. What wholesaling is getting a property under contract to purchase for X amount, and then selling that contract before closing to someone that has money or has credit. We do it all the time. We have money and credit, so you don't have to be no money or no credit for it to work, but it just works for anybody. Shoot, you can wholesale from jail if you're able to sneak a phone. Where would you sneak a phone, Dakota? Never mind. So if you can sneak a phone in jail, you can wholesale from jail. Anybody can wholesale. You don't need a social security number. You don't need any of that if you wholesale the way I'm going to talk about. So this applies to everyone. And wholesaling in its core is finding discounted, distressed properties. So whether you want to wholesale, rent, or flip, or do anything, you need to find distressed property. So wholesaling is a great option for you to learn how to do it. So let's talk about how to wholesale. Then I'm going to show you where you can find wholesale deals. Then we're going to get into buying rental properties. If you appreciate that, make sure you're following me on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at Sam Faster Freedom, and DM me on Instagram. Slide into my DMs, as the kids say on Instagram, for my free training if you would like that. If not, no big deal. I give away a ton of stuff for free on the socials, thousands of hours of free stuff. But if you want my specific free training for growing wealth using other people's money, legit free training, brand new. If you saw my one 6 months ago or a few months ago, this one's brand new. So DM me on Instagram for that. I'm going to say that a few times, but the more interaction, the better. So I appreciate you watching live or the recording, double tapping, sharing, commenting. I appreciate it. Enough about me. Let's get to the screen. So wholesaling real estate. Let's talk about what it is, and then let's talk about where to find the deals. If we want to understand wholesaling, we have to understand real estate investing in general. I think everybody will agree that this is what real estate investing is, about as simple as possible. Real estate investing is finding a distressed property, fixing it up, making it nice, making it ready to rent or sell, and then selling it or renting and making money. Agreement, thumbs up, yes. Does everybody agree that this is what wholesaling is, or what real estate investing is? I apologize. This is what real estate investing is. Distressed property, fixed up, make it nice, sell it or rent it for money. That's what real estate investing is in a nutshell. But if you're going to wholesale, the way I'm talking about, with no money from jail with a butt phone, get it home. This is what you do. You live inside the transaction. This is how anybody can do it. So what you do, let's walk through this. You get a distressed property under contract. Let's say you talked to the seller, you found it from another wholesaler, real estate agent brought to him, you drove for dollars, whatever, you found a distressed house. You got it under contract to purchase for $150,000. You said, Mr. or Mrs. Home Seller, sign this contract. In 45 days, this is day one, in 45 days, you are going to get paid $150,000 at the closing table. You agree? Yes, great. So they sign the contract. And this contract is like any other real estate contract, investing or residential. It has a contingency in it. When you bought your house, or when you're going to buy a house one day, if you ever do, there's going to be a clause in there that says the bank has to approve it, a financial contingency, what it's called. There's going to be inspection contingency, where you're going to have a professional come in and inspect the property to make sure there's nothing wrong with it, even if it's a brand new build. So there's contingencies are normal. Same with wholesaling. You get a 2-week or 14-day contingency. So what you do is you take this $150,000 house that you have on a contract to purchase, and in those first 14 days, you sell it. It's distressed, and you're selling it to somebody that's going to buy it, fix it up, and rent it or flip it. So you don't have money, or if you do, you don't have to use it, and you're finding people with money. So right now, if you find a good wholesale deal, you're going to sell it on Facebook in 2 minutes, or text your buddies. Overdone, easy. In general, it's not always that easy, but for the foreseeable future, it's super easy to sell. So we're not going to get into that. So before day 14, you sell the property. And let's say you sell this for $175,000. Not to get too technical, but you do an assignment, another sheet of paper saying that you're selling this piece of paper that's worth $150,000, that is your rights to buy a property, and you're going to sell that paper for $175,000. You're still on the hook for this, but you get the difference. So on day 45, the person with the money and the credit is going to get $150,000. How much do you get paid in this example? What are our audiences? Can you see the numbers on each of them?
Mm-hmm.
What are we at?
65 TikTok, 22 Insta.
65 TikTok. Wow, okay. TikTok must not like Lula, which is okay. We'll figure it out.
We got up to 400, and then it plummeted.
Plummeted. That's kind of weird, huh? This is the same thing. All right, cool. We'll figure it out. Great. All right. So DM me if you want that free training. So you get paid $25,000 here. You get the difference. So you did not close on it. You did not fix it up. You did not use any of your own money. That is why. Okay. So that is wholesaling. And let's talk about how to find wholesale deals, and then we can get into owning rental properties. So how you find wholesale deals, there's a ton of different ways, but the best ways is other wholesalers, people who do this professionally. They buy houses cheap enough, but sometimes you can wholesale on top of that for a few grand if you find a good buyer. You can talk to real estate agents. They'll bring you their distressed properties that are tough to sell, no problem. And then you can drive for dollars, or put out bandit signs, or just talk about it all the time. Cam, so at Cam Faster for you, not Sam, just take the S to replace it with the C. He's a wholesaling expert. He's joining the team. He's been posting stuff on Instagram lately about how he's bought several houses last month without spending a dollar in marketing by posting on Facebook. So you can do that as well, posting on his personal Facebook. So that's some tips about wholesaling. Now let's talk about rental properties. So number 2, rentals. Who on here wants to own rental properties one day? Raise your hand or give me a thumbs up. Anybody on here want to own rental properties? Well, the beautiful thing is you don't have to use any of your own money to do it. You can use other people's money to buy rental properties, okay? So here's what you do. You get the property, let's just walk through the process, but you're basically going to leverage debt to buy rental properties at a discount. There's a 3-step process to growing rentals. This is like kind of a Faster Freedom original. Step 1 is to understand debt. Step 2 is to implement a process that I'm going to teach you. And step 3 is to scale. I know my writing's beautiful. Listen and watch. So debt, implement, scale. Those are the 3 steps to buying rentals. I own $26 million worth of real estate without using any of my own money through those 3 steps. Took me a while to learn them, perfect them, whatever you want to call it. It's not easy. It is simple, but it does take hard work, and you can do it too. So let's walk through it. What's our audience looking like now?
About the same.
That's crazy. All right. So here we go. What you do is you need to understand debt. So there's good debt and there's bad debt. Let's talk about that. Give me some examples of some bad debt. Excuse you. So there's bad and there's good debt. Most people are taught that debt is bad growing up. Like I was taught it, you were probably taught it. The more debt you get into, the more risk you take on, pay cash for everything, cash is king kind of mentality. That is a little simpler and easy to understand. Hence, my boy Dave Ramsey has all the minions that follow him that are afraid of debt because they're afraid of money. If you understand money or not afraid of it, you can use other people's money to create wealth. So bad debt is going to be a car. It's going to be like a boat. It's going to be credit card debt. That's all bad debt. The reason it's bad debt is because it goes down in value and does not produce cash. Good debt, however, goes up in value and does produce cash. So what goes up in value and produces cash? A single family rental, an apartment, a business. You can go into debt to buy and get into business. That's what Apple, Facebook, every big company you can think of went into debt to produce products and services that they then sold. They took the cash flow from those products and services and paid off that debt, plus a crap ton more equity was built and a crap ton more cash. So that's the same thing, but with real estate. So understanding that debt is not bad is step one. Whoa. Well, how are we on YouTube?
6.
6. Okay. All right. So, the next step, again, DM me on Instagram if you want my free training. The next step is to implement the process. Now, who has heard of this BRRRR method? It stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, scale. Not buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. Okay? So this is kind of step 2 and step 3. This is how you buy rentals using other people's money. If you think you know this because you've heard it a couple times, you're wrong. I've done this hundreds of times, and I teach it, and I still learn something new almost every time. So let's walk through an example of this, how to do it. So the example would be buying a distressed property. So what I did is I got a house that was distressed, under contract to purchase for $100,000. I knew by walking it that it needed about $50,000 worth of work. So I haven't used any money yet, but I know I need $150,000 to buy this house and to rehab it. I went to a private lender, and he wrote me a check for $150,000. You can do a hard money lender or a private money lender. Either one works just fine, but using other people's money getting into debt is what we talked about earlier. So I borrowed $150,000. My private lender wrote me a check for that. I actually just got to lunch with him. He wrote us a check to buy 2 houses, $130,000 each. So he wrote us a $260,000 check. I just wrote him back a $275,000 check in like 2.5 months. So we'll stick with these numbers, but just showing you that it can happen. So he wrote me a check for $150,000. I bought a house, fixed it up. Let's make this house happy. So now I have a house that's gone up in value, so it's getting ready to become good debt. The next step is I got it rented. So I got it producing cash now. So now it's good debt, right? Because you're paying attention. It went up in value and it produces cash. So now with the rent, it is good debt. I still owe Steve his $150,000. Here's how I get him his money back. It's the refinance step, okay? The refinance stage. You take your property that's rented to a small local bank, and they will write you a check for up to 80% of the appraised value. This property appraised for $200,000, so they wrote me a check for $160,000. What did I do with that $160,000 check? I wrote Steve a check back for $160,000. He wrote me a check for $150,000. I wrote him a check for $160,000 in like 90 days. So he's happy. Now he's got his money back. I don't owe Steve any more money. I owe the bank $160,000, but the rent covers the mortgage and all owning expenses, or MOX as we call it here, and positive cash flow. And then you scale, which is creating more wealth, bigger, better, faster, stronger type of thing. I don't know what happened there. So then you scale. So how you scale is you create systems, you get coaching, you take action, you create your lead flow, and you get extra funding. I've got a video coming out on Thursday about how to scale on my YouTube, so make sure to check that out. But make sure you're following my TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, all at Sam Faster Freedom for now. Spoiler, DM me on Instagram if you want my free training. Love to help you out. Do a Q&A live later, but make sure to follow me if you want to get smarter and control your future. Thanks for watching. And